In the lively township of Su lived a beautiful girl named Amara. Amara had always known she was different. From the moment she could understand the world around her, she realized that her family was poor. Not just poor in the way everyone in Su was, but they were stuck in a cycle of poverty that seemed unbreakable. Her mother had been working as a cleaner at an expensive Santon hotel for over 20 years. Yet, she had nothing to show for it except aching knees and a salary that barely covered their rent. Their apartment was a small one-room space where the kitchen, bedroom, and living area all blended into one. The walls were cracked from years of neglect. The ceiling fan worked only when it felt like it. And every morning, Amara woke up to the smell of burning wood from the street vendors selling food outside. Even though this was the life she had known from birth, she hated it and she wanted more. Every night, Amara was staying in bed scrolling through Instagram, watching girls her age flaunt expensive clothes, raw Donna blonde wigs, and vacations in Dubai and Ireland. They would upload videos of themselves walking through luxury malls in the Zare Hills, sipping on Moet and Chandon, and throwing captions like, "Hard work pays off, another vacation, why not?" Some of us are just built differently. She knew some of them were fake, but it didn't matter. She wanted it at any cost. However, her best friend Bola hated this obsession and tried to discourage her. "Amara, you are dreaming too much. Life is not Instagram," Bola said. But Amara shook her head. "Life is not suffering either, Bola. Look around us. We live like rats." Well, as for me, I refused to be another struggling soul girl. They had been best friends since childhood, but Amara was getting harder to understand by the day. "Amara, those girls do things to maintain that lifestyle. Do you really think an Instagram post is enough to pay for all that, babe? They have rich-led sponsors. I even heard that some of them do dark things." Amara rolled her eyes. "So, if they can do it, why can't I?" "Because not everything has a price," Bola argued. But unfortunately, her words meant nothing because Amara had already made up her mind. She wasn't going to spend her life scrubbing floors like her mother. She would go for more. One afternoon, while scrolling through Instagram, Amara came across a post that changed her life. "I am looking for a personal assistant. She must be beautiful, stylish, and confident. DM me if you are interested." The post was from Zara X, an influencer and socialite with 600,000 followers. She was a queen in Johannesburg's influencer scene by every right. She had the perfect body, the perfect hair, and the perfect life. She lived in a penthouse in Santon, drove a Mercedes G-Wagon, and attended private yacht parties with South Africa's richest men. Amara had followed her for years and she wanted to be her. So she saw this as a perfect opportunity. Without thinking twice, she typed a message. "Hi, my name is Amara. I am confident, stylish, and hardworking. I would love to work with you." She prayed silently before pressing send. A few minutes later, her phone vibrated. Zara had replied, "Come to Santon Mall tomorrow at 3 p.m. Wear something nice." Amara screamed out in excitement and immediately ran to Bola's house. "I got a job!" "Well, not a job yet, but I have a meeting with Zara X," Amara said. Bola frowned. "That influencer?" "Yes, she's looking for an assistant and I applied. This could be my way into the industry." "Isn't it one?" Amara insisted. "This is dangerous, Amara. You don't really know these people. Please don't start." "Do you know how many girls will kill for this opportunity, Bola?" Amara snapped. Bola sighed. She knew there was no stopping Amara when she was determined. "Fine, but be careful." The next day, Amara borrowed a dress from Bola, applied cheap makeup to make it look expensive, and took a taxi to Santon. For the first time in her life, she entered a luxury restaurant where the air smelled of expensive perfume and rich people's problems. She immediately felt out of place. Women strolled past her in designer clothes with glowing skin and perfectly sculpted bodies. She spotted Zara at a private table sipping a cocktail. The influencer barely looked up when Amara arrived. "You're late," Zara said, adjusting the sunglasses. Amara's heart skipped. She wasn't late. She had arrived 10 minutes early. But she apologized. "I'm sorry."
Never mind, just sit down. Amara swallowed her nerves and sat. Looking at Zara up close, she realized she was even more beautiful than her pictures. Her lace wig was flawless, her nails were long and sharp, and her gold earrings glistened under the restaurant lights. She immediately tried not to stare. Zara took a sip of her drink and eyed her. "You're pretty, that is important. But can you keep up?" "I can handle it," Amara said, forcing confidence into her voice. Zara smirked. "We'll see." And just like that, Amara became her assistant.
Amara sat in the taxi on her way back home, smiling. This was it. She was one step closer to the life she had always wanted. It felt so real, as though she had stepped into a dream. The words kept replaying in her head. "You are pretty, and that is important." For the first time in her life, someone had looked at her and seen potential. This someone was not just another struggling girl from Soweto, but a social media goddess. She had chosen her. Zara had told her to meet her at her penthouse the next day. "Dress well and don't be late," were the only instructions she had given before leaving the restaurant. That night, Amara spent the entire night picking an outfit. She had no designer clothes, no expensive heels, no human hair wig, but this was her chance, so she had to make it work. She had no choice but to borrow a beautiful black dress from Bola, straighten her old wig, and make sure her lip gloss was shining. The next day when she arrived at Zara's penthouse in Santon, she almost stopped breathing. It was a world of wealth she had never seen before. The building had glass walls reflecting the city skyline, and the security guard didn't even look at her twice before letting her in. He too had class. Inside the penthouse was like something out of a Hollywood movie. It had floor-to-ceiling windows, velvet furniture, golden chandeliers, and an unreal view of Johannesburg. Zara emerged from her room, dressed in a silk robe, perfect makeup, and long bone-straight wig. "So, you made it," she said. Amara breathed, still amazed. "Good, let's get to work." At first, the tasks were simple. Amara just had to organize Zara's schedule, respond to brand emails, and set up her ring lights for TikTok videos. But as the days passed, Amara realized that Zara wasn't just an influencer. Her life online was only an illusion. Zara would spend hours posing for pictures, changing outfits, and taking videos of food she didn't even eat. One day, they packed up for a private trip to Paris. They arrived at the airport, got on the private jet, and Zara asked Amara to take pictures of her sitting inside. However, immediately after the pictures, they got off the private jet, left the airport, and took a taxi home. Amara was confused. "Wait, we're not flying anywhere," Amara asked. Zara rolled her eyes. "Sweetheart, I don't need to fly. I just need them to believe I'm flying." Amara's eyes opened wide in shock. This was the first line she learned about the influencer world. It wasn't about being rich, it was about looking rich. Soon, Amara wanted to play the game too. She was intrigued. After 2 weeks of working with Zara, Amara had learned a few things. Firstly, most influencers rented designer bags for photo shoots. They didn't own them. Secondly, the luxury cars they flaunted were often borrowed from wealthy men in exchange for their bodies. Of course, the one that shocked her the most was that a lot of these boss babes weren't making money from Instagram. They were actually making it from men. One evening, as Zara was getting ready for a party, she turned to Amara and said, "I've seen the zeal in you. You want to come into our world, right? Anyway, you need to start looking expensive because nobody takes a broke girl seriously." "I don't have money for expensive things," Amara admitted. Zara smirked. "You don't need money, girl. You just need the right connections." That night, Zara took Amara to a rooftop party in Santon, the kind of event Amara had only seen in magazines. Women were draped in designer dresses, perfect makeup and sparkling jewelry. And for the men, powerful, rich, and dangerous. As soon as they sat down, Zara whispered and pointed to an older man in an expensive suit. "That is Chief Damin. He likes beautiful young girls. Just smile and he will take care of you." Amara hesitated. She had heard about the sponsors before, the men who funded influencer lifestyles, but she wasn't sure she was ready to get one yet. However, before she could respond, Chief Damin was already walking towards them. "Zara, my favorite girl," he said smoothly, placing his hand on her waist. Then his eyes landed on Amara. "And who is this beauty?" Zara smiled.
This is Amara. She's new in the game. Amara felt exposed under his intense gaze. Chief Damin smiled and nodded approvingly. Fresh blood. Tell me, Amara, do you like nice things? Amara swallowed hard. Yes. Chief Damin smiled. Then let's talk. That night, everything changed. The next morning, Amara woke up to a notification on her phone. 30,000 rand had been deposited into her account. Her hands trembled as she stared at the notification. She had never seen that much money before.
At that moment, she remembered something. She quickly scrolled through her phone's gallery and posted a picture of herself from the party last night, captioning it, "When you work hard, the rewards come." Surprisingly, the likes poured in, but the comments were filled with both jealousy and admiration. "Amara, you are glowing. Soft life suits you, babe. At least leave no crumbs." Nobody asked where the money came from, and they didn't need to know. The only thing that mattered now was that Amara was officially in the game. Her relationship with Chief Damini continued, and as the gifts and cash poured in, Amara felt more powerful than ever before. For the first time in her life, she could walk into luxury stores without the weight of poverty on her shoulders. She wasn't even window shopping. She was buying now. Designer bags, luxury heels, imported human hair wigs, bouncy curls, straight long hair, short hair, just name it. When she stepped into restaurants, waiters treated her differently. They saw the expensive watch on her wrist, the diamonds in her ears, and the car keys in her hand. Even though the car belonged to Chief Damini, Johannesburg was finally bowing to her. But there was one problem. They were never satisfied. The more they had, the more they wanted. One evening, Zara sat her down for yet another lecture. "You are not taking full advantage of your position, babe," she said as they sat on the balcony of Zara's penthouse. "What do you mean?" Amara asked. Zara smirked. "You need more clients." "Clients?" I hated that word. I thought Chief Damini was enough. Zara laughed. "Sweetheart, a single man can only fund you for so long. Men get bored easily. So you need to have options. You need a roster." Amara swallowed hard. She had tasted the soft life, but was she really ready to go deeper? Zara saw the hesitation in her eyes and tried to convince her. "Look, this is not about sleeping with men. It's about positioning. You don't have to do anything unless you want to. Just play the game. First of all, you have to invest in your body. This game is all about perfection." Amara looked down at herself. She had always been pretty, but next to Zara and the other influencers, she felt plain. "What do you mean?" Amara asked. "I mean you need to have a snatched waist, a lifted bum, and hips that can make a billionaire forget his wife and focus on you." Amara laughed nervously. She had heard about BBLs and waist sculpting surgeries. She had seen pictures of girls with perfect curves and unreal bodies, but she had also heard the horror stories. Some of these girls went in for the surgery and never came out. "Where do you go for yours?" Amara asked. Zara smirked. "I don't go to hospitals, babe. I go to underground clinics. They do it cheap and fast, plus you also recover quickly." That week, they went. The clinic was in a hidden building in town. It wasn't an official hospital. There were no signs and no licenses. Just several white rooms with plastic surgery tables, foreign doctors with no names, and a waiting room full of Johannesburg influencers, all of them waiting to be sculpted. One girl named Eva started up a conversation with Amara. She was a famous Instagram girl. "I've done mine 3 times. You don't stop at 1. You have to maintain it. These men love fresh bodies." Amara was really nervous. Something felt wrong, but she had already paid. Zara went in first, then Eva. When it was Amara's turn, she lay on the table, trying to calm her nerves. Then she heard a loud scream and a door burst open. At that moment, a body hit the floor. It was Eva. Her skin was pale and lifeless. The doctor shouted something in a foreign language, but Amara couldn't process it. Zara rushed into the room and grabbed Amara's arm. "We have to leave now." Amara was scared. What happened? But Zara didn't answer. As they came out of the room, they saw the doctor and his assistants already dragging Eva's lifeless body out of the room. There was no ambulance to salvage the situation. Amara ran and never got the surgery again. After the surgery incident,
Amara swore to stay away from dangerous things, but the hunger for power was too strong. Zara had not finished inducting her into the influencer world. She had another plan. See, Amara, you need something stronger, something that will make these men obsessed with you, Zara said one evening, her voice lowered, as though sharing a secret. Amara frowned. What do you mean?
Zara leaned in closer. Do you think a man would just buy you a luxury car like that because of one night of pleasure, even if he dug gold out of you, when there are many other available girls, even more beautiful than you? Amara was intrigued. So what do I need to do? Zara's eyes glinted. There is a woman who makes charms, real charms, such that men will give you millions without blinking, no matter what you ask. That is what we all do. Amara couldn't wait to get fully equipped, so that night they went. She had expected to see an old woman, but the woman was young. Her skin glowed and she dressed so well that she didn't look like a traditional healer. She looked like a goddess. The woman handed them a black cloth. Remove your clothes and wrap this around you, the woman instructed. Amara and Zara stripped down and wrapped the fabric around their bodies. Then the woman brought out a bowl. Inside was a dark, thick liquid. Bathe in this and you will become powerful, the woman commanded. Zara went first. She dipped her hands in the bowl and started rubbing the liquid over her skin. Amara watched as Zara's body shone like gold. Then Zara turned to Amara. Your turn. Amara shut her eyes, scooped the liquid in her hands and spread it over her chest, her arms and her thighs. The moment it touched her skin, she felt a rush of fire inside her. The woman laughed and said, From this night, no man will ever say no to you. It was done, and the effects were immediate. Amara noticed that men stared at her differently now. Even Chief Damiyu, who had ignored her texts for weeks, suddenly sent her 200,000 rand, which was triple what she had requested. A billionaire she had only met once sent her a car as a gift. There were also men in her DMs begging for her attention. It was like magic. The more Amara climbed, the more she changed. She was no longer the humble girl from Soweto. She now had influence, power, and attention. Her Instagram following had grown to over 50,000 followers. Brands were now reaching out to her. She was getting free PR packages and being publicly recognized in malls. People started calling her a rising star. Bola texted one day, Amara, I'm so proud of you. You are really making it. Amara stared at the message for a long time, feeling strange. Bola didn't know the truth. She thought Amara was an influencer, but she didn't know the designer bag she was wearing and the luxury trips were paid for by men she barely liked. She didn't know about the secret mansion parties where shady deals were made in secrecy. Amara planned to keep it that way. But the problem with playing a dirty game was that eventually, someone would want to see you fall. It started with a rumor. One morning, Amara woke up to an anonymous account that read, You think you can fool people forever. Wait and see. She had stopped. She clicked on the account, but it had no profile picture. Was this a joke? Before she could even process it, her phone started ringing. Zara was calling. Check Twitter, Zara said the moment Amara picked up. Amara opened the app and froze. She was trending. A gossip blog had just posted an expose about her new influencer lifestyle. Lulu, Johannesburg's newest it girl, but sources say she's not as independent as she claims. Our sources confirmed that she has a sponsor, a married billionaire who funded her entire lifestyle. So which is it? Hard work or hard work? Amara felt sick. She dropped her phone and stared at the floor in disbelief. Who did this? Who could have done this? She thought hard and came to the conclusion that it had to be someone who wanted to gain from her downfall. And the only person who knew too much and fit that description was Zara.
That evening, Amara stormed into Zara's penthouse. Why? Why would you do this to me? Zara was sitting on her couch, drinking wine as though nothing was wrong. She smiled, swelling her glass. Darling, you are getting too big too fast. You are too ambitious. This industry doesn't like new girls who don't know their place. Amara couldn't believe her ears. She felt like she had been punched. Zara, I thought you were my friend. Zara laughed. Friend? You are not worth the sweet life. I brought you into this world. I can take you out. Amara's hands shook with rage. She had been loyal to Zara and had trusted her, but now she was being thrown away like trash. "You are evil," Amara cried. Zara took another sip of her wine and shrugged. "Welcome to the influencer industry, babe. It's either you win or you get used." The next few weeks were hell for Amara. She didn't know how to manage the bad publicity, so it affected her negatively. Brands started pulling out as nobody wanted to work with an influencer caught in a scandal. Her followers turned against her. Their comments were brutal. "So Amara is just another one of those queen wannabes. We thought she was different." Chief Demin blocked her number. With the scandal, he couldn't be seen with her anymore, so her income stopped overnight. Her penthouse was gone, her bank account was draining fast, and suddenly Amara realized that in this fake world, she had no real friends. Zara had ruined her, and now she was stranded. Amara sat in the dark, crying as she scrolled through the hateful comments under her latest Instagram post. Fake life. Slay queens always end up like this. It's a shame we thought she was a real influencer. Her phone rang with missed calls from unknown numbers. The blogs had exposed her, and now the wolves were circling, about to devour her. She had lost everything. Her reputation, her sponsors, her lifestyle. Zara had won. Amara stared at herself in the mirror. Her once flawless skin was now covered in stress pimples. Her wigs were now messy and unkempt. The whole glamour was gone. But she wasn't going to stay down. No, she was going to fight. Since the industry was dog eat dog, she would retaliate. Zara had declared war and Amara would give it to her. But not with words, with power. Dark power. Amara knew where to go. She had heard about a woman in Sioux, a powerful Sangoma who could change destinies. The woman's house was deep inside the township, hidden away from easy access. The moment Amara stepped inside, she felt a dark and evil presence. Candles flickered in the dark and strange symbols covered the walls. An old woman sat on a mat. "You have come to me broken," the woman commented without Amara saying a word. Amara was boiling. "I want revenge." The woman smiled coldly. "Revenge is not cheap, child. Are you ready for the price?" Amara thought of Zara sitting in her penthouse, still drinking wine, feeling untouchable, and clenched her fists. "Yes, I am ready." The old woman nodded slowly. "There is a way, but once you start, you cannot turn back." She gave Amara a red cloth, a black candle, and a bottle filled with dark liquid. "You pour this liquid on your tongue every night. It will make your words powerful. When you speak against someone, their life will turn to dust." Amara's hand shook as she took the bottle. "And what about Zara?" she asked. The woman smiled coldly. "She will pay." That night, Amara lit the black candle, wrapped the red cloth around her waist, and poured 3 drops of the dark liquid onto her tongue. The taste was bitter and burning. She closed her eyes, and as she felt a strange energy rush through her veins, she knew things would never be the same again. The next morning, Amara woke up to the results. Zara's name was trending in a scandal. An anonymous blog had leaked bank statements showing Zara's secret dealings with married men. Immediately, her brand deals were cancelled, her followers turned against her, and her sponsors disappeared. Zara tried to deny the accusations using PR, but the evidence was too strong. Amara smirked darkly as she watched the chaos unfold. This was only the beginning. Zara's empire, built on illusions, was crumbling. Amara knew she had started something that couldn't be undone. A week later, Amara sat in a private club in Santon, watching the industry collapse around her. The people who had laughed at her downfall were now being exposed. Chief Damin's secret affairs had been leaked, and influencers were being dragged online. The very industry that had once worshipped them was now turning against them. Amara was no longer afraid. She was in control now. But the power was making her reckless. She felt invincible. That night, she called Zara. Zara picked up immediately. "What do you want?" Zara's voice was cold, barely masking the defeat. Amara smirked darkly. "I just wanted to see you suffer." Zara shook her head. "You don't know what you've done, Amara. This industry doesn't let you win." Amara laughed. "But I already won." With that, she hung up. The silence that followed felt final. Amara had defeated Zara, but she had no idea what would come next. Zara's game might have been over, but Amara had only just begun. The next few days felt surreal. No more fake smiles, no more pretending. The luxury, the fame, the power, everything that once defined her was now at her fingertips. But as time went on, Amara began to feel uneasy. Something was off. It wasn't just the emptiness of her success, it was a growing darkness that had started to consume her. The whispers started again.
At first, she thought she was imagining it, but as time passed, the voices grew louder. They came in the dead of night, when she was alone in her penthouse, scrolling through her phone. It was like a creeping presence that refused to leave her. One night, she woke up to a strange sound, something like a soft scratching on her door. She tried to ignore it, but the sound came again, louder this time. Her heart raced. She sat up in bed, trying to control her breathing. She grabbed her phone and checked the time, 3 a.m. The silence that followed felt suffocating. Amara hesitated, but eventually decided to check the door. As she stood up, her phone buzzed with a notification. She glanced at the screen. The message was from an unknown number. It read, "Did you really think it was over, Amara?" Her stomach dropped. She opened the message, but before she could process it, the account was deleted. No profile picture, no details, just the ominous message. Amara's heart pounded in her chest. Who was this? Was it Zara? Was it someone else she had wronged? She felt a chill run down her spine. The scratching at the door came again, more urgent this time. Amara stood frozen, afraid to move, afraid to open the door. Her mind raced as she wondered if the darkness she had embraced was coming for her. In a moment of pure panic, Amara grabbed the black candle, the one from the sangoma. She lit it, hoping for protection. But as the flame flickered, something changed. The air around her thickened. The shadows in her room seemed to grow, stretching across the walls, pulsating with an airy energy. Suddenly, she heard a loud bang on the door. It was deafening. Her heart skipped a beat. The knock came again, this time harder, more forceful. Amara's breath caught in her throat. "Who's there?" she whispered, her voice shaky. But there was no answer, only the sound of relentless knocking. She approached the door slowly, her hand trembling as she reached for the handle. With a deep breath, she opened it. But there was nothing. Just the darkness outside. No one. She exhaled in relief, her heart still racing. But before she could close the door, a hand shot out from the shadows and grabbed her wrist. She screamed and looked up. Her eyes widened in terror. It wasn't anyone standing there. It was Zara, or what was left of her. Zara's once flawless face was now hollow and sunken. Her eyes were completely black, devoid of any humanity. She didn't look human at all. Amara froze, her body rigid with fear. She tried to pull away, but Zara's grip was too strong. Her voice came out in a low, rasping whisper. "You thought it was over, Amara? You took everything from me, but now I'll take everything from you." Amara screamed, pulling with all her strength to break free, but Zara's hand tightened around her wrist. In that moment, Amara understood the price of the game she had played. She had embraced darkness, and now it was coming back to claim her. Panicking, Amara broke free, running out of her penthouse without looking back. As she sprinted down the hall, she could hear the airy whispers behind her, echoing from every corner of the building. A week later, an article surfaced online. Influencer Amara, missing for days. Her friends and family are deeply concerned. Could this be another case of social media fame gone wrong? But that wasn't the end of Amara's story. Days later, a shocking video began trending on Instagram. It was of Amara, dressed in tattered rags, but still wearing red heels and holding a matching red bag. She was wandering through a market, muttering incoherently, clearly out of her mind. She was no longer an influencer. She had become a symbol of everything the industry could break. Thank you for watching this story.
Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. What did you learn from this story? And please share the story with your loved ones. Give the story a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye.